Hey guys, how you going? Hope you're all doing very well. This afternoon I'm going to be doing another movie review. This movie is a drama from Romania, Romanian language English subs, released in the year 2019, directed by Radu Dragomir, and this film is called Indecency. It's also known as Mo, so if you can't find under one title, please look for it under the other. So the story to Indecency, aka Mo, you've got two college students who are best friends travelling by train to go to their final exam. But unfortunately, they haven't studied for this exam, so they decide that their desperation set in, they really want to pass, so they sneak mobile phones into the session. But unfortunately, they're found out, and not only do they fail the exam, but the elderly gentleman running the session expels them. So they're devastated. They can't tell their parents because it would bring great shame to them. So they have to find a way to try and get out of this predicament. And later that evening, they have come up with a way. And that way is to actually accept the elderly gentleman's proposal. Now, this elderly gentleman, he meets them at this restaurant and he tells them that if they go back to his apartment and they can convince him that they have what it takes in order to resit the exam, he's going to allow it. So they have dinner together. They just start discussing things that they like, but pretty soon the night is going to take an evil turn because these girls are going to realise that in order to get what they want, they may have to do things that they are very uncomfortable with. And so how the evening transpires is something you're going to have to find out for yourself, because that's as far as I'm going with my synopsis. Now, my thoughts on Indecency. I'm actually a fan of Romanian cinema. I wouldn't say I love Romanian cinema, but Romanian movies definitely have their own unique style, and that style is monotony, the ever-grinding sort of sense of realism, and that realism is something that really emulates what the Romanian people have been through. This is a very tough country. These people have actually been very suppressed in their past, and the movies actually tell a story through that visual sense, through that sense that, okay, I'm caught in a very claustrophobic atmosphere, and that atmosphere is emulated through the intense visual styling. It's a very dreary, very dull, nothing is vibrant, and everything feels very depressing. So you always feel as though there is a strong level of weight put upon the viewer, and that's exactly what these people were actually facing. And so the movie does have that realism that really sets you down in a very uncomfortable way. So you've got movies like 4 months, 3 weeks and 2 days, which is about abortion set in the Ceausescu era. I thought that was a very, very uncomfortable film. You've got The Death of Mr. Lazarescu, which is a critique on the Romanian health system, that it was equally very dreary and downbeat. Although that was a comedy and it was funny in instances, that strong level of discomfort really holds you down. And so they definitely have their own style, and it's like Romania are telling the viewer from foreign countries how it was back then. And so I definitely think the overall visuals tell a story of its own. And so it's not going to gravitate to everybody. If you are a cinematic fan, Romanian movies aren't really going to capture you. They don't have twists and turns in their stories. They don't have extravagant special effects. And so if you have a low attention span, you're not going to like movies from this area of the world. But if you're like me and you like movies that tell a story but have so much more of an impact, then these movies are for you. And I would definitely say Indecency is a movie that you can add to the list of very impressive qualities as far as visualization is concerned. This is a very ugly film. This is a movie that made me feel very uncomfortable, and it made me feel very sorry for these two inexperienced individuals. These were young girls, young, very attractive girls who didn't realise that they were being lured into a trap by a master manipulator. Now, this is a very important subject. It's a subject that has been raised ever since Harvey Weinstein had been found out that he was using his power in a way that was very evil and very depressing. And so ever since people have spoken out against Harvey Weinstein, all of a sudden the Me Too movement started, and a lot more people in power have been found out that they've been using it in a very, very corruptive way. And so this movie emulated that in a way that I thought the realism brought a sense of respect. This is a movie that is in no way arousing. It's not glorifying the elderly gentleman's behaviour. It's showing it is in the grim set of reality, and that grim reality is something that happens every day. And so who knows how many people this elderly gentleman has actually had this happen to. And so these girls, they're going through this situation where I felt as though they were just being lured into this darkness, that by the time they realise that it is dark and it is very uncomfortable, it's already too late. This man is getting what he wants, and so he knows these girls are desperate, and he's going to play on that desperation, and to me that is very scary. But again, it's scary in a way that it's not a horror film, it's not a thriller, it's just matter-of-fact realism, and that just makes it even more intense because of the fact you can relate to it. You can relate to these people, and you can relate to this man because he is demonstrating evil behaviour. This guy knows that he has all the keys to these girls' future, but he's going to roll that in a way that I thought was really, really depressing, because I never felt this movie was going to have a happy ending. This is a movie that just stays very true to its tone, and it stays true to the viewer. It's not going to try and trick the viewer. It's not going to try and tell you that, okay, I'm going to spin it and it's going to be a really big twist, and all of a sudden, you know, you think to yourself, okay, well, I didn't see that twist coming. And that twist in a lot of movies gives you that cinematic quality, whereas this movie doesn't have a twist. It just tells you a story that happens every day. So I thought the acting from the elderly gentleman was absolutely fantastic. He was just this wolf in sheep's clothing. It was a really disgusting individual, but on the outside he comes across as a really well spoken. But these girls, as I said, they don't realise what is actually happening. And so the girls, I thought their performances were great. And the chemistry that they had between these girls and this man, I thought was really off-putting. It was very, very uncomfortable. So discomfort is definitely the driving force of this film, and it's what makes the movie watchable. But it's not a movie I'll watch again. It's for the simple fact that it does take on some really, really heavy themes, and there are some really heavy moments. There are some really disturbing moments. But again, it is just a fly on the wall. It's like you're actually watching something that is really happening and really does happen. So if you are a fan of just very, very realistic movies, then I definitely think Indecency, aka Mo, is for you. But if you're after movies that are like rape revenge films, or you know, the good guys taking revenge on the bad guys, then this is not a movie for you. As I said, it doesn't promise a happy ending, because as I said, this is everyday life, and it's just basically a situation that is taking place in real time. But the further the situation progresses, the more uncomfortable I was getting. So that was intensified through that cinematography, through the matter-of-fact dreariness of reality, and the suppression that the Romanian people feel. And so that's definitely what I was really impressed with. If I have issues with the movie, as I said, it's not really a theatrical piece, so it's not a film that you're going to go and watch again, but it's definitely a movie, if you are a fan of world cinema, that I would recommend, because of the fact it is different and it does depict a very important message that everyone needs to be aware of. And so if it sounds like your kind of thing, go out there and see Indecency, aka Mo. I'm going to give this film 3.5 stars. Alright guys, that's it for my review. Hope you enjoyed it. Till next time, keep watching movies, and I'll see you later. Bye.